Hello and welcome to North London, to a very posh part of North London called Whetstone. Now, this is my old stomping ground. I actually used to live just a couple of miles away in a place called Finchley, and I have to say this is a really nice area of London if you want to stay out from the centre. But there are some big disadvantages of staying in this Travelodge. I'm going to tell you about them later, and I'm also going to give you some really useful tips about staying at this Travelodge and staying in this area of London. But first of all, let's have a room tour so you can have a look at what the room is actually like. But keep watching to the end, because I'm going to give you some really useful information about this area of London and about staying here at the Whetstone Travelodge. So the first thing that struck me when I walked into the room is it is very small. In fact, this is one of the smallest Travelodge rooms that I've ever stayed in. It's not necessarily a problem. I'm travelling on my own, so it doesn't really matter. I think if I was in a couple, I'd want a bigger room than this. There just isn't there isn't much room at all to spread out. The bed is pretty comfortable. I think they nearly always are in Travelodges and Premier Inns and all these other budget hotels. They do tend to have a comfortable bed, and last night it was a good night's sleep because the bed is very comfortable. So give them top marks for that. The branding of this particular Travelodge is the old-fashioned style. It's not the new look rooms, it's the old style rooms. So the branding is this kind of red and blue and grey style, which is carried throughout the whole room. So you get that old picture that they've been using at Travelodges for many years. You get the bed band there, which is the old style, and likewise with the curtains, the old style curtains. I don't know if they have any intention to update this branding, but at the moment Travelodge are rolling out what they call new look rooms, which, to be perfectly honest, do look a bit nicer. And I don't know whether the intention is to do that eventually with this hotel or not. But at the moment, they're using the old style of branding. I did mention the room being very small. And to be honest, it's very basic as well. Again, not necessarily a problem if you're just staying for one night. But just to give a few examples, it's that old style bucket chair. In the new style rooms, they have a much nicer chair. If you have a look at my other videos on YouTube, you'll see I have reviewed some of the new style rooms where they have a nicer chair, and likewise you've got another chair there, but it's just the same. It's this plastic bucket style chair, which aren't, to be honest, they're not that comfortable, and if you're travelling on business, then I don't think you'd want to sit on that for very long. Say, for example, if you're working at your desk on a laptop computer, I don't think you'd want to sit there for very long. It wouldn't be that comfortable. You certainly wouldn't want to sit on this chair either for watching TV for very long. So I don't really see the point of these chairs. They're not comfortable to sit on for work. They're not comfortable to sit on if you're watching telly. So the only real purpose is somewhere to store my laptop case and my camera equipment. So a bit pointless really, two chairs, but both of them pretty useless other than for storage. And that is another major problem. There is no storage space at all. So you're basically left with either putting stuff on the desk, which is quite a small desk, or just shoving stuff on the chair. Usual problem that I mention in every film I ever make: not enough coat hangers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, that's not bad. I've been to some Travelodges where they only give you 4 or 5. I'm only here for a night, just down for a football match this time at Wembley, so I didn't really need many coat hangers anyway. But if you're here for a few days, then you want more than 5 or 6 coat hangers. The desk itself, as I said a few moments ago, it's very small. I suppose you could just about get a laptop computer on and do a bit of work. You get the usual problem that they don't give you enough coffee and tea, but plenty of stuff at reception which you can go and pick up whenever you want. Plastic kettle, and it's a very small kettle as well. It's one of these, some people aren't bothered. Personally, I don't like them. I much prefer when they give you a metal kettle. They're much nicer. These plastic ones can get a bit grotty. My general impression of the whole room is it is basic, and they have kind of cut corners in a way with things like the chairs, the plastic kettle, the old style branding with the old style curtains. Maybe they are planning an update at some point, but at the moment it is one of the more basic travel lodges. Now, to be fair to them, it is very clean. The bathroom is immaculate. The bathroom is very small, but it's immaculate. Usual stuff, you know, your toilet, your toilet roll, your wash basin, and a very small shower. Shower's quite effective, but it is small, as you can see. Very, very clean, immaculately clean, no mould, no problems in respect of hygiene, so very happy with hygiene. They've filled up the soap and the shampoo. Sometimes you come to travel lodges and they're empty, but that's fine. Obviously got the mirror, me there. So basically, if I have one big complaint, it's about the actual size of the rooms. The rooms are small, the bathrooms are tiny. In recent years, I've done lots of reviews of lots of Premier Inns and travel lodges, and the only one that was actually smaller than this was the Premier Inn Hub Hotel that I stayed in London last year, and I've done a review of that on YouTube. That's the only room I've stayed in that was actually smaller, was one of the Hub hotels, but that was tiny. That was absolutely tiny. But generally speaking, it's manageable. If you're a solo traveller, maybe a couple, might be all right with this room for a few days. I wouldn't want to stay in here much longer because it is a little bit claustrophobic. You've got another mirror there. Television is quite a good one actually. It's a smart TV and it works very effectively if you want to bring along a USB stick and you know, with films and stuff, which is what I do, and stick it in the back of the telly. You can stick it in there and watch your films that you bring from home. It's 28 inch, so it's reasonable size, and because the room is so small, you can see the bed there and the television there. The room is actually it's one of the advantages of having a small room is you are close to the TV. So if you're lying in bed at night and you want to watch television, then the television is actually big enough because it's very close to the bed anyway. Heating, which didn't need because I'm here in summer, but there is this electric radiator. The room is fine though in terms of heating, in terms of ventilation. There is no air conditioning, which you don't get in a standard Travelodge room anywhere. So wherever you are in the country, if you stay in a standard Travelodge room, you don't get air conditioning. Now you can open the window, which actually, as you can see, it's broken, which is a bit disappointing. It's all right, it shuts, but it's got one of these safety devices, and it looks straight out onto a children's nursery. So I'm going to be very careful about filming so I don't actually show any of the children outside. But this is actually a big problem, and I think I'm actually going to contact the hotel about it, because for privacy reasons, when you've got a children's nursery right next door, you need to have net curtains or some form of privacy, because when you get out of bed in the morning and you want a bit of light, you want to open the curtains, you can't, because right outside you've got this children's nursery. And so what they should have done, I'll just shut the curtains and you'll see what I mean. So there, I've had to have the curtains shut, and all it really took, all it would have taken is just open them again. Some net curtains or some blinds or just some form of privacy. And I think especially when you've got a children's nursery opposite, which you can see there out the window, they could have put some net curtains. So I've had to have my my curtains closed all the time, because obviously I don't want to be walking around without any clothes on right in front of a nursery. So I just do not understand why. And I'm going to contact the hotel about this and just suggest that they put some net curtains up or some other privacy, especially in these rooms, the rooms that overlook the children's nursery, because I just think that's really bad, not having more privacy there. It is really good for natural light, this, and I think it's just the direction of the sun. The sun is facing into the direction of this room. So I've got loads of natural lighting and a nice big window, but it's just that privacy issue. And you've got loads of houses over there as well, and you're very close and you're looking straight into them. I'll talk a bit next about the actual area itself, and I'll give you some useful tips if you are going to stay here. My overall verdict on the room is it is small, it is basic, it's the old style Travelodge design, but in their favour it's very clean. I certainly would give them top marks for hygiene. The bed's very comfortable, the television is good. The heating situation's fine. Apart from the fact it's basic, apart from the fact it's small, it is quite a nice room. But there are those limitations which I just mentioned. Well, that's my room tour, but now I'm going to give you some really useful tips if you're thinking of staying here. And I'm also just going to give you a few other bits of advice relating to the actual area that the hotel is based. Well, I hope you found that room tour useful. I'm now going to give you some useful information about the area. Now, Whetstone is quite a long way out of London. It's in North London and it's almost at the end of the Northern Line on London Underground. So it's Zone 4, which means it is going to be a bit more expensive travelling into central London. It is a really nice part of London. It's a very posh part of London. The nearest tube station is Totteridge and Whetstone. And Totteridge is actually one of the poshest parts of London. There are quite a few celebs and famous people who live in that area. Just to name one, Rod Stewart famously had a mansion in Totteridge, which is only about a mile away. So the local tube station is Totteridge and Whetstone, Zone 4 on the Northern Line, and it takes you about 10 to 15 minutes to walk to the tube station from here. So it's not too far to walk, and it is very, very safe walking along the main road to the underground station. It will take you a good 30 minutes to get from there into central London. So all in all, from leaving the hotel, if you're using public transport, it will take about 45 to 50 minutes to get right into central London. So as you can see, it is quite a long way out of London. But it's a really nice, safe area. There are lots of facilities around here, but as you'd expect, they're not cheap. There are lots of very nice restaurants, very nice places to eat out, but they do come at a price. There's also a couple of supermarkets within 10 minutes walk, and you could probably guess one of them's a Waitrose and the other one is right next door, and it's an M&S food store. So the two supermarkets you would have expected, the two expensive ones. But generally you would expect that in this area because it's that type of area. It is a nice, safe area. It is a posh area. The actual hotel is in Whetstone rather than Totteridge. The tube station is called Totteridge and Whetstone, confusingly. Totteridge is about a mile away and Totteridge is dead posh. I mean, Totteridge is mansions, celebrities, very rich people. Whetstone isn't quite as rich, but it's still a very, very nice area. And it's an area I know very well because I used to live just down the road in a place called Finchley, which is a little bit further into London. So yeah, I can definitely recommend the area as a safe area, but bear in mind it's a long way from central London. A big advantage of the hotel is if you're travelling from the north of England, then it is very easily accessible. It only takes about 15 minutes once you leave the M25 or the A1 motorway. And it's not much further from the M1 motorway as well. And as an added bonus, parking is free around here. The hotel has a car park, but you don't need to use it because there's lots of free parking right outside. I've parked my car just literally outside the front of the hotel on public parking, and it's completely free. It's very, very safe. I've stayed at this hotel several times before, left my car right outside, and it's very safe. So if you're travelling by car, it's fantastic with free parking and free safe parking. Or if you want to be even safer, then just put it in the hotel car park. The disadvantage is if you're travelling by train to London, because you'll arrive at King's Cross or Euston or whichever station you arrive at, and then you've got a long journey from the station to actually get to the hotel. So this really is a hotel that's more suitable for people who are driving to the hotel rather than using trains or using public transport. All in all, the main problem with the hotel is the size. It's very basic. It's as you'd expect, it is a travel lodge, and all travel lodges are basic, but this is even more basic than most travel lodges. But it's clean, it's functional, it's okay for a night, maybe 2 nights, and it is in a very good area. The disadvantages really are the size of the room and the fact that it's a long way from central London. So would I stay here again? Well, to be honest, I've already stayed here twice before. This is my 3rd visit. I would stay here again, yes, in the future, but it would have to be at a good price, because to be totally honest with you, the room is basic. It's not really worth a lot of money. And I have noticed on Travelodge website, this is one of the more expensive hotels in London, probably because of the location, because it's a nice location. So I can understand why people want to pay more to stay in a posh area. But it does have a lot of inconvenience. So by all means, stay here. I will be staying here again. The 2 provisos. Firstly, I would only stay here again if I was driving to London. If I came on the train, I wouldn't. If I'm driving to London, I would stay here again. But I'd only stay here if I got a good price. I certainly wouldn't pay a lot of money for this hotel, simply because you can get much, much closer to the centre of London for the same price. So why would you want to stay so far out of the centre of London? But nice area, free parking, very handy if you're travelling from the north of England by car. Nice and clean hotel, staff are nice and friendly, but a basic room, and to be honest, a long way from central London. I hope you found this useful. My name is Darren Bugg. I make hundreds of reviews of hotels, mainly budget hotels for business travellers throughout the United Kingdom, especially in the big cities like London, Manchester, Leeds, all the big cities. If you can help me by subscribing, I'd be really grateful. Until next time, happy travelling, safe travelling, and I'll see you again soon.